Hey, Bestie!
Hey guys, we got two Bestie homeschooling mamas coming at you. I am Gail.
And I'm Christina.
And we have a super exciting episode for you today. We are going to be talking about homeschool conventions and why you should go, why it's so important. Today, we're going to delve into that world of those homeschool conventions and explore the resources, experiences, insights that empower families on their educational journey. Today, we're going to discuss the significance of homeschool conventions and why they should be a priority for homeschooling families. Joining us today, we have the Arizona for Home Education, or short AFHE, board member, Cindy Duell, and she's an amazing, experienced homeschool mom and advocate. She also happens to be our state organization's convention director. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be joining you today. This is fun.
We are so excited to have you and to talk about convention, which is all things in your brain.
Yes.
We're going to pick her brain.
Pretty fully consumed with that right now.
We appreciate you taking time and coming out with us. Why don't you introduce yourself and let us know a little about you?
Okay. I am Cindy Duell. I live in Tucson, Arizona. We've lived here for, over 25 years. My husband and I have 6 children. 5 of them are graduated, 4 are married. I am still homeschooling our youngest, and they range from age 14 right now to 29, almost 29. And so we've been homeschooling ever since 2000. I didn't know that I was homeschooling. We expected to send our oldest son to a charter school, and there wasn't a charter school with the curriculum that we had heard about and favored available to us. And so we thought, well, it's just kindergarten. I'll teach him to read and we'll do some math. And then, by next year, we'll have the option we want available. And that was, like I said, 24 years ago. We never changed course, never went back to the idea of going to public school ever. And by the end of that year, I realized that there was this thing called homeschooling. I actually had met some homeschool moms before that, but didn't really know. Got connected with some other people at my church. We started doing a little bitty group with our little bitty kids, our little kindergarten and first graders, and that became our community, and that's how we got started. Then several years later, my husband and I joined our local support group's steering committee, and we served there for 6 years, and that was how we became acquainted with AFHE beyond the convention. We started attending the convention, I think, in 2001. Got involved kind of as a remote volunteer, sort of, in about 2014. Just got more and more involved, and here I am. So,
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. And we are so thankful for all you do.
So, Christina, how do you know Cindy?
Well, I have known Cindy now for, I'm thinking, about 8 years, and being on the leadership team for our support group. We met through AFHE because they do an amazing leadership conference every year. So that, I think, was our first interaction. And since then, just volunteering more and more and more together.
Awesome. And I met Cindy last summer when I went to convention for the second time. And then I've started to get involved more and more with my support group, which then, I'm also involved in volunteer with AFHE as much as I can during convention and helping with the graduation and those kinds of things. So my friendship with Cindy is very new. So.
Yeah, but you kind of showed up, and all of a sudden there's this person asking me, what can I do? What next? What do you want me to do? Do you need me to do this? And
How I roll.
I love that kind of person.
Right?
Yeah,
I like friendship.
I love to be involved, and I like to be helpful. I love to serve. So that's kind of just ingrained inside of me. So yeah, it was a new friendship, and we've gotten to see each other now a couple times since last summer, and excited for our friendship to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to get down to the nitty gritty here. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
One of my favorite subjects.
Awesome.
If we're not talking about my kids, I'm probably talking about, or my grandkids.
And the
grandbabies. Then we're talking about convention. So, yeah.
You didn't mention how many grandbabies you have.
We have 8, plus a few more on deck. So, yeah.
Love it on deck.
Isn't that awesome? Okay. Well, I'm going to start. Let's talk about what exactly are homeschool conferences and why are they important?
So, depending on what state you're in, you might be looking at attending a conference or a convention, and they're actually different. The terms get used kind of interchangeably, but what Arizona has anyway is a convention, and the difference is a conference is usually a gathering of people who work in the same field or are in the same industry or the same market segment or or something like that, and they are sharing with each other and research or writings or panels or whatever. A convention is more a gathering that's based on a shared interest or a shared motivation or cause or whatever, and it usually includes an expo or vendors where people can view a lot of things that are related to that interest. So what we have is a convention. As far as what we're talking about that's happening this July in Arizona, we also have a conference, but we might talk about that later. The convention that we have is in July in Arizona. Your state might be having it at a different time. The importance of them really is related to, I mean, there's the macro view and there's the micro view. The macro view is that you're in a large movement. You're in a whole world, a whole ecosystem, right? And you get a view of what all that is and what is necessary as a large group. You also have kind of the micro experience, why it's important. You find out, oh, this is where we're stumbling in teaching my child about writing. Here's some solutions. I went to this workshop and my eyes were opened to this, a way that we can get past this obstacle. Or I discovered there are some other ways to teach this area of math. And so now we have some other things to try. Or, my kids' eyes really lit up when we looked at this history program or this approach for science. And so we're going to try that. So you have kind of the micro importance and the macro importance of attending a convention or a conference.
I have been so blessed the last 2 summers getting to go since we just started 2 years ago. And it has been amazing. My husband went last year for the first time and he's like, this is a lot of information to chew, but at least we have the information kind of thing. So I think that's the thing about it is it's so important just to go and educate yourself as parents so that you can educate your kids well.
Right.
And have different things in your pocket.
Yeah. The first time we went, our oldest was in preschool, and it was just that the first moment was a little bit overwhelmed. And then the second moment was, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm all in. It just gave you that full view of how amazing this community is.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So second, Cindy, I know you experienced the convention in a totally different way than we do, especially now that you're running it and directing it. Could you share a little bit about your personal experience attending homeschool conventions and the impact that they have made in your family's homeschooling journey?
Yes, I would love to, because it has been really important for us. I think, like I said, attended our first one in 2001. And for several years, we didn't bring our kids. It was just my husband and myself. And we were both very interested in, learning about homeschooling. It was completely unfamiliar to either of us. And here we are trying to do it, right? So it was a lot of like grabbing hold of tools, learning about resources, getting a view of where this might go. I'm starting with a kindergartner, but and then I'm going to have, like I said, we have 6 kids. So pretty rapidly, I was homeschooling multiple kids. And then it was going to be, and then there's going to be middle school, and you can do it in high school too. And so we started getting kind of a view of all of that, all of those possibilities, and all of that wisdom that had been developing and being put in place by people who had come before us for decades. By the time I learned about homeschooling, it was new to me, but it wasn't new to the people who had been doing it for 20, 30 years already in 2000. And so just tapping into that made it so exciting, really, to think, we can do this. Look at all these families that have done this. And totally different from the experience of enrolling your child at a school and then, not to make light of the detachment that there is when you have someone else taking care of your child's education, but you are detached from it. Having it in our hands is a weighty responsibility. It's very serious, but it's the potential of it, and it's the excitement of it, and the unity that it can foster in your family is, I don't know anything else that can do what homeschooling does. And so attending conference was like the yearly, just adding to the layers of that confidence and that desire and that motivation to keep doing what we were doing. So we've attended the AFHE convention every year except one. since 2001, I think. And I had never attended any other, we've lived in Arizona. Why would I travel somewhere else? But I had never attended one anywhere else. I hadn't even attended a virtual one until 2020, which sounds really weird because in 2020 there weren't conferences and there weren't conventions. But another state organization put on a virtual conference. That was how they pivoted that year. So what they did was brought together all kinds of speakers that they would have had at their event, and they made an online event. Which wasn't, the first time anyone had ever done that, but it was the first time that an in-person event had pivoted on a dime and turned into a virtual one. So a few of us from AFHE actually went to help work the event. We actually had jobs. We were with all the people who were behind the cameras and, moving stuff around on the stage for the virtual presentations. And we monitored phone lines. We monitored all kinds of other things. So that was my experience there. So that was exciting and really different. In 2022, I went to a conference in Colorado, and that was the first time I had attended in person a homeschool event in another state. And it was really fun just to see, these are my people too, even though we are in a different state, but the opportunity to see just kind of that everyone kind of has its own flavor, its own slant, its own, population and ways of doing things. And so that was just really informative as well. And I liked seeing how they did it there. But, the Arizona one's my favorite, so.
Because it's the best. We do love all the other ones, though.
I love what they do. I get lots of ideas from other conferences. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to go with Cindy to Colorado, and it was amazing.
Very fun.
Yes, it was. Okay, thank you for sharing that insight. What are some common misconceptions about homeschool conventions that you've encountered, and how would you address them?
Common misconceptions. Well, I guess ones that I've heard are things like, we're doing fine. I don't want to change my curriculum. I don't need to go learn about different options and things. I'm afraid it'll be overwhelming, so I don't want to go. It's going to cost me a lot of money. I just don't know if I would get that much out of it. There are other things I could do with my money. Well, that's true. It can be overwhelming. You might be set on your course and not have any desire to change or even entertain the idea, because that would be overwhelming. Another one is that attending convention or attending your conference is about what you can get out of it. And that, of course, you're spending your money, your time, you're lining up babysitting if that's your choice. You're traveling away from home for a couple of days if you need to do that. And it is a big sacrifice that impacts you very personally. But the misconception there, I would say, is that it doesn't matter to the people there whether you attend. That's just not true. As a movement, as a community in our state, we need you. We need legislators, media, policymakers, the public to see what the depth and breadth and diversity of the homeschool community actually is. Putting lots of voices together has a big impact. And so when we have our annual convention, this is our 41st year that we've done this convention. And so that longevity needs to be sustained and participated in by the people that are part of that community and who we are representing and advocating for. I know that you guys have talked about the role of organizations in homeschooling freedom and in policymaking and advocacy, and that's a major part of what AFHE does all year long. The convention is an event. I plan for it all year long, but it's an event that has an impact throughout the year. Our advocacy work goes on all the time.
Right.
So that's important for people to realize that when you come to the convention, you are showing the world what the size,
the value,
the vitality, and the vitality and the value, like you said, of homeschooling is. And then, some of those other misconceptions, as you put it, there's just, like I said, that wisdom, that energy, that determination just gets bolstered when you're with a bunch of other people who are wanting to do the same kind of thing. We're all doing it differently. We're all doing it, different curriculums, different approaches, whatever, but desire to be intentional and to be the ones directing your child's education for the good of your child, your family, your nation, frankly, is you really can't get that even from an online summit where it's you and your computer, listening to somebody talk or whatever. There's nothing like the in-person experience of being at your convention.
Well, that's the thing too. I think people think, well, my rate of return, what's my ROI on this? And it's absolutely unmeasurable, in my opinion. you know, what you have to spend. Like, we live in Phoenix, my husband and I, and we still get a hotel room when we go to convention so that we can have like some marriage time and getting to refresh about homeschool. And it's like one of his favorite things now. He's like, I told him when convention was this year, and he goes, so are we getting the same room at that hotel that we like? And I was like, yeah, we'll go get a room. So, you know, he's very excited. And I think it's a refreshing for homeschool parents too. So if you're feeling frustrated in your journey or whatever, I know a convention is different than a conference, and it's not as community building, but your community is there. And you can build community at a convention, even though there's thousands of people. So I think that's one of the misconceptions is they're like, well, I'm going to walk in, I'm not going to know anybody. Well, that's okay. Say hi to somebody and they'll say hi.
We wear name tags.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I made a friend last year on, like, she was in the homeschool Facebook page or something for our state, and she's like, is anybody else going to convention? And I was like, I'll be there. We met at convention and we went and had lunch with her and her husband, and, you know.
Had a blast.
Yeah. So I think the misconception is that you're not going to get a return on your investment, and I think that's entirely untrue.
And we've said before, and I'm going to say it again, if your spouse, if your husband can be there, it is so good for them to be there with you, just so that you can help make sure that you're on the same page and you can get excited about it together. You can get recharged together. That just makes the whole rest of the year that much easier, I think.
It does.
And you can divide and conquer.
You can divide and conquer, and you get twice as much information. It's amazing.
Right. If you're so inclined.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, the adult admission rate for the AFHE convention includes a spouse. You don't have to pay extra for your spouse to come. It's a great value for one person to come for 2 whole days. But if 2 people, you divide that by 2 people and by 2 days and by the number of sessions, you're like, $3 per session we went to, whatever.
Yeah.
So we try lots of different ways to make it possible for couples to attend together.
Yeah. And we always get our program on the previous day when we go for special needs. And I know we'll talk about that in a minute, but we get that program and we take it back to the hotel, and then we map out our next 2 days. And it's like a fun thing we do at dinner.
It's super fun.
It's so much fun. So we have a great time.
You can do that ahead of time too. Typically
online, right?
Online, you can get the schedule.
Yeah. Landon likes to make notes in the book. And so, Cindy, would you elaborate on the diverse range of workshops and seminars that typically are available at these conventions and how they cater to different homeschooling styles and needs?
So this is super fun. When I started working for the convention, or volunteering for the convention, it was in the area of speakers and workshops. I was just doing proofreading and editing for like the workshop descriptions and stuff like that. So it's like being a kid in a candy store. When I get all these speaker packets and they have all their sessions listed, and it's really hard to choose what sessions are actually going to be offered from year to year. We have some priorities. We want to have some, I would call them old favorites, but really it's just like timeless, important topics that we need every year. There are some speakers who I would sit through a whole day with them every single year if they were there every single year. So we know that there are favorites that people like to see returning speakers. We also want to introduce new voices and new topics and people who maybe you've seen online or you've read their book, but they haven't been to our event yet. So all of that to balance. And then we have new homeschoolers coming, people who aren't even quite yet sure that that's what they're doing, people who've been doing it for a while but they're discouraged right now, people who just discovered that, the reason we've been having these struggles is my child has a learning difference that now I need to know how to handle that because obviously I wasn't handling it before. Or, oh my word, it just occurred to me that someday my kid's going to be entering high school. Now I'm terrified. So we put a lot of effort into helping people equip and gear up for and get their child all the way to homeschool graduation through homeschooling. So we've got all those different things to cover. And then there are different homeschooling approaches or styles. There are different subjects. We try to have, especially a certain few. People feel like they need help with a certain few subjects. Math will always address. Writing will always address. We try to have something about learning to read or what the science of that is, so just with, all those needs, what it's really cool, we schedule, it's about 80 of what we call featured workshops. Then we also have keynote sessions. In addition to the featured workshops, we have what are called exhibitor workshops. So the featured workshops are from speakers who we've invited. We've selected the content. We are filling those needs that I just mentioned, all those different areas and ranges of needs. Exhibitor workshops are presented by people who have a booth in the exhibit hall, and they want to either do a presentation of their product or service so that you can ask all the questions, learn all the ins and outs of this curriculum or this therapy or, whatever that is. Others offer more general information sessions through their exhibitor workshop presentation. And so altogether, it's something like 130 workshops.
Yeah.
And so don't get intimidated by that number because, like you said, you can get the schedule in advance. You can do the whole, we're getting the hotel room and making the master plan, like the battle plan for the weekend or whatever. Or you can do it at home and decide, what are my priorities? What do I really want to get out of this weekend? I wanted to show you this. I know that you can't see this.
We can.
You're just listening.
We can see it.
But this is how this develops. So I print out this schedule, and then I put all the speakers' sessions that I'm considering on little sticky notes, and then they just fly all over the pages for weeks and weeks and weeks.
We are looking at the master plan
It
for
has
this year.
Yeah. So
that makes me so excited.
isn't that super silly? Like all my little,
I love it. It's a
I
great
love it
idea.
because you can move it around to fit whatever.
I move it around. It's color coded, and then that turns into the schedule that we put in the program and online. But getting everything where it belongs is really a challenge, and it's really fun. For example, some of the sessions we have this year are for dads. We have a few tracks. Maybe I should mention that too.
Yeah, I love those tracks you guys do.
Yeah. So you don't have to sign up in advance for the vast majority of the sessions. There are a few, and I might mention those, but you don't have to sign up in advance. You do what the day tells you, or what you and your spouse decide, oh, we just realized there's this need. We're going to attend this session. Like I mentioned, teaching, writing, scheduling. This year we have a session on discussing research about homeschooling. So we're going to hear from a homeschool researcher about what does the research tell us about homeschooling. We have...
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. How to do it all without losing your mind. Become a great teacher the easy way. Math gaps, how to fill them up. Affording a Christian college if you choose to attend a private school. But the tracks I wanted to mention, there's one that we call Bible Focus track. In that track, you will hear sessions that are specifically about the Bible, Christianity, homeschooling from a Christian perspective, developing a Christian worldview, discipling your children. And we have 2 whole days of sessions in that track. We have 2 whole days of sessions in what we call our Starting Smart track. And that is if you're starting homeschooling at whatever age, young, middle, older, information and help that you need for just getting started in homeschooling. But that's also where we put some of our sessions about starting out with the little guys. So preschooling, homeschool. Yeah. How do you manage homeschooling when you still have toddlers and babies in the house? How you're teaching to read. Some of those starting education, from the beginning sessions are in that Starting Smart track as well. Like I said, we have high school and beyond. And that's 2 full days of sessions that are going to equip you and help you.
I think Christina even attended the high school one or parts of it last year because she was starting high school, if I remember correctly.
I actually did that when we went to Colorado because I was...
Oh, yeah. You were busy. But last year. I remember you saying, we're going to do this because you're a high school student. And
yes, I was very excited to do the high school track right before starting high school.
Yeah. Transcripts, record keeping, putting together your 4-year plan for what all you want to accomplish, you and your student want to accomplish in high school. So that's a 3rd track. We have one that is homeschooling special learners. In the homeschooling segment that covers, there are really just innumerable needs as far as we could never have a session specifically about each different need that is out there. But we try to schedule help and information for some of the ones that are kind of the most requested or the most needed, as well as some more general things that are going to help parents who have a special learner in the home.
That's a track we spend a lot of time in.
Yeah.
With Corey.
That's good. And there are so many people who are leaving public schools or who have decided homeschooling is the best option for their child with those needs. Mm-hmm. And so that's really growing. Mm-hmm. That need is really growing. So we try to give good attention there. We know we'll never cover all the needs, but we hope that we're going to have something there that is helpful to you.
It's such an important track, though, because there are a lot of parents who think because my child's a special learner that I can't do this.
I saw this really cool comment recently. Someone said, homeschooling is your IEP. Mm-hmm. It is your individualized education plan. You're making it exactly what your child needs. You have to do some background learning, possibly. Yep. You need to know the right resources, or how is this going to look different than what I thought it was going to look like. But man, there's so much potential.
How many times have I said that? I'm Corey's IEP.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. It's true, because when they gave us his IEP for kindergarten, when we went to public preschool, and because he went to developmental preschool, they said, well, for kindergarten, we're going to get him a one-on-one aide because he's not going to be able to concentrate with all the kids around him, and the teacher's not going to be able to dedicate that much time. And so he's going to need a one-on-one aide. And I was like, so what you're telling me is that my son will learn best if he's by himself learning one-on-one with someone. Okay, I'll take care of that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I think it's an important track that you guys do, and I appreciate that you guys put it into the convention every year.
It's so important. I'm glad we have the opportunity, and that we've got great speakers and resources that are available there. And then last year we introduced for the first time, very near and dear to my heart, I'm not going to try to say it in Spanish. We have one full day that is sessions all presented in Spanish for developing vision and understanding of the homeschooling context and of the homeschooling world for people who Spanish is their first language, or it's the language in their home, or it's the language of their home country, but now they're here. And so we want to make homeschooling available and accessible and doable for families that are operating in Spanish as well. And so we've opened that up last year. It's one full day. We're doing it again this year. We have some amazing speakers coming in who are among the leaders who are making things happen in this segment nationwide. And so it's going to be really exciting having them with us. Or another speaker we have coming this year is doing sessions about homesteading. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, you guys. Oh,
you just made Gail's whole.
I'm glad I gave you a heads up so that you could plan for this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yes.
Landon and I do very little homesteading in our city home, but we do as much as we can, like currently. And he wants to start his own garden and a bunch of foods in our backyard. And so he's so excited about those things. But I make a lot of our things that you would get for your pantry or for your fridge from scratch, because it's just better for you in general, and without all the icky oils and things of that nature. So I'm very excited about this.
Yes. And homesteading and the homeschool are a natural fit, they just click. And so some of the things that she'll be presenting have to do with kind of that combination of aspects that, homesteading and homeschooling, how homesteading can be a major part of your homeschool program itself. So that's super exciting. And then, man, our keynote speakers, I was so excited about all of these speakers, every single one of them. Can I just mention our keynote speakers?
If you are willing to drop the bomb on our podcast, I'm down for it. Let's bring it.
Okay.
If you are ready to share that information, then I am so excited.
So we do attendee surveys after each convention, and one of the questions on the survey is, who would you like to see come as a speaker? And year after year after year, people ask for Davis and Rachel Carmen, they've been speaking for a long time. They own Apologia Education Ministries, and they have been speakers at the AFHE convention before, but they have been asked for every year. And Davis and Rachel are coming back this year. Davis is going to do our Saturday morning keynote. He's doing sessions all weekend long. Rachel is doing sessions all weekend long. They are going to be very popular sessions. And Rachel she's like straight talk with honey. So I'm going to tell you the truth here. And you're going to be glad that I did, even if it's a little uncomfortable or even if it pokes that one spot.
I love it.
So
That's how I roll.
Oh, man. Rachel's awesome. And Davis has been just a leader, a leading voice, steadfast stalwart in the homeschool movement for years. They've graduated all 7 of their kids, and this is what they do full time. They encourage homeschool parents. So that's Saturday morning. I'm working backwards. Friday evening, at the end of our first day, we have a special session with Jim Mason, who's the president of HSLDA, Homeschool Legal Defense Association. He is a litigator. He's an advocate. He has helped in court cases around the country to defend and advance homeschool freedom and protect homeschool families from legal intrusions into their homes. And he is doing a session called From Fringe to Movement to Enduring Institution, How Christian Homeschooling Can Serve and Lead the World Today. And he has a view of the homeschool world nationwide and around the globe, truly, that is unique. I mean, he's just in a spot where he has a perspective on it that most of us will never have. He sees the whole picture. And so it's really important to attend his session and hear from him about the state of homeschooling, where we are right now, where we've come in the last, like I said, about 40 years, and where he sees things going. Right. It's really, really important to attend that session.
Please, if you are there, please watch that one.
Don't miss hearing Jim Mason. Mm-hmm. And Friday morning, to kick things off with a little high energy, Alex Newman is speaking for us Friday morning, and he is a homeschool father of 5 who is a writer, a broadcaster, an interviewer. He's an international journalist. He was living in Sweden when Sweden basically nationalized all forms of education and promptly banned homeschooling and started persecuting homeschool families. So he was living there as an American watching this happen in Sweden. And so he knows what that looks like. He knows what leads up to it. He has seen it play out like in real time right in front of his eyes. And he has some important things to say about what that means for the American homeschool movement. And he's doing sessions all weekend. His opening session, the keynote session, is really a rethinking about the purpose of education. Why are we even concerned about what happens in a child's education? And based on that, why do we think homeschooling is the best way to go? So what Alex Newman has to share on Friday morning is going to be just like the igniter for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And
be like, bam!
It is.
Start the weekend.
I'm really excited that Alex Newman is coming.
Right? That is an awesome overview of what the convention is going to be like. I am so excited, even more so than I was already. Right. Could you share some experiences or insight into the networking community opportunities available for homeschool families?
Yes. So I mentioned there are online events. You can attend an online homeschool event any day of the week all year long, truly. People are putting together some really great content, which you can access anytime. Okay, we just hit a speed bump in our homeschool, and I need a little motivation to figure out how to move on. That's great. That's fine. But what that can't give you is, like you said, the networking and the local opportunities that you can find out about when we all come together, and there's someone right there standing at a table in the exhibit hall who's going to explain to you what this class offers or what this organization offers or how your child can grow through this opportunity. We also have local venues that will be exhibiting at the convention, so you can learn about, doing a field trip or what are your educational experience options there. Like you said, Gail, you have met friends there. There are faces that I have seen every year that I've been going, and I don't see them all year long. But when we're at convention, we get together, we say hi, we get caught up on what the intervening year has right. held for our families and for our work. And so being together, really, I remember more than one year walking into the lobby at the convention center and just tears springing to my eyes, feeling like I'm with my people. Look at all these other parents who are giving so much to do the utmost for their kids. Look at this. And to feel like, and I'm one of them. I get to be one of these people, and to be here to get this experience and be.
She's going to make us all cry.
I know. I'm learned you there.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's changing the future. I don't think parents realize how this movement now will change the world in the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And be part of that.
From someone who was attending these events 20 years ago, I'll tell you that homeschool leaders and speakers back then were saying, just wait, watch this grow, watch what happens, because this movement is not the hope for our country, but offers hope for what we can see is the wrong direction our country is going in. But if we will do what God's calling us to do in homeschooling and in proper education and in, families uniting in this effort, we're going to see amazing things in the future. And so, I was getting that message 20 years ago. I was having that vision cast for us that long ago. I'll tell you, it's exciting to be living in this time, as tumultuous as it is, as strife-ridden as it is, as divisive as things can be right now. Something that gives me hope for the future for our country is the homeschool movement. Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Homeschool is just my favorite thing. I don't know why I let one go all the way through public school system before I realized this is not the jam. It's very exciting. Community truly can enrich a homeschooling experience. And whether you're experiencing that in a support group or a co-op or even just coming to convention, it's important. So for families who might be hesitant to attend convention due to time or financial constraints, we kind of talked about this a little bit ago, but what advice would you offer them to convince them that the value of these conferences or conventions are irreplaceable?
Well, I'm in a few Facebook groups. I mean, I can't be in them all. I'm in a few Facebook groups that are for homeschoolers, and a lot of times I just grin. Someone will put in a post that says, "Hey, I'm new. We're just now starting homeschooling. Are there any groups out there?" And I'm like, "Are there any groups out there?" Yes. Yes. Or, have you guys thought about how to homeschool an older one with, I've still got these younger kids and they're not school age yet. How do you do it? And I think, oh my gosh, yes. Like I said, those years and decades of wisdom and experience and tips and advice. I didn't even mention, in our exhibit hall, we have a Mentoring Moms booth. You walk in the exhibit hall and it's like the first thing you see. So if you've got questions, if you've got struggles, if you've got how to do this questions, you just stop right there. Walk like 10 steps into the exhibit hall, stop at the Mentoring Moms booth, and start asking your questions, because there are people there who have been homeschooling through a wide range of experiences, ages, types of homeschooling, and they're equipped, and that's why they are there. But, the time and the financial investment we did touch on it earlier. Really, there's a huge return on them. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't cost you something. It costs you time. It costs you money. Our event costs to produce the event have gone up every year. We really try to find ways to keep the cost reasonable for families. That's why we have an adult admission rate that includes both spouses. You can bring your children, your teens along with you, but children under age 6, there's no admission fee for them. It's just once your child reaches school age that we charge a fee for that ticket. They'll usually be taking up a seat if they're attending a session with you, and so we need to have assess for that. But really, the best way to keep costs down is to invite all your friends. Tell everyone to come to the convention, because about volume and all of that. So the more people who we have come to the convention, the better we'll be able to do at keeping those costs reasonable for people. We do have several discount categories. You do need to request it in advance. It's not just you don't just sign up for it and it shows up in your inbox. There is an approval process. We have several different discount categories you can learn about on our website. Fill out the request form. And the one that is used the most is for first-time attendees. If you're attending for your first time, you've never registered for our convention before, you'll get a hefty discount on your
I used it the first time I went.
Yeah, man. And then also, if you're an AFHE member, you're eligible to volunteer for the event. Volunteering, if you volunteer enough hours, and it's really reasonable, especially if you split it with your spouse and each do a shift or two over the course of the 2 days, you can actually attend for free. You do have to be an AFHE member. There is an annual membership fee.
Totally reasonable.
Your convention admission can be free for the adult admission. Teens can also volunteer.
We love the teens.
The teens they're the bomb. Seriously. The youth service team is one of the keys to our success, truly. They do so much. But your teen can also volunteer and earn free admission. So in that way, you're also giving to the people around you. Your fellow attendees are benefiting from your service. you're benefiting from your service by getting free admission, and you're helping the event be smooth and a good experience for everyone there, including our speakers and our exhibitors. We serve them as well. They are really important, and we value them highly. We love having them come. We do a lot to serve them over the course of the weekend as well, and you can be a part of that.
I have volunteered both years that I've gone. The first year, I just sat in a room for Christina on a Thursday and counted and did the things because I had never attended myself.
Right. So workshop host, right? You welcome people into the room, help them find seats.
Make sure everything's full in and that it's not too full. If it gets too full, sometimes you have to say, not this session. Yeah. I remember that. We try not to do that. I know that they work really, really hard on if they think it's going to be popular, they put it in a bigger room, those kinds of things. But I got to do that the first year. And then last year, my husband and I did volunteer the full amount so that we could go for free. It was so much more than just going for free because they say you feel better when you serve others. And it's true. Like service is so much about those people and that community, but it's beyond words what it does for you as a volunteer as well. So it definitely helps the committee and have them not running around with their heads cut off, So do that.
We might still be doing that, but
not as bad.
Not alone.
Yeah. Not alone. That's funny. That's true though. That's true. Absolutely.
Tons of areas to volunteer in.
Yeah. So many.
Tons of ways to volunteer and serve. From very low impact, like you said, workshop host is pretty easy as far as,
hallway hosts and stuff. It's just answering questions as people pass by.
Right. Yeah. All the way to greeters, info booth, running registration, some of the bigger jobs.
A very good point. You do not have to be a homeschooling expert. You don't have to be homeschooling for years and years and years to get to this point where you're qualified to volunteer.
Right.
So we can use all of you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. It's fun.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think we've ever had too many volunteers and had to turn people away.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Not a problem we've had.
So there's a place for you.
Yes.
If you're hearing this, there's a place for you.
Yes, yes. As we wrap up, Cindy, can you share anything else that we would need to know about our upcoming homeschool convention, the free mini conference on Thursday, or even just any other events coming up for AFHE?
Yeah, well, I did want to mention, I know that you guys have listeners everywhere. And so if you are not in Arizona and you're listening to this podcast, I want to send you to homeschoolfreedom.com. 2 words, no dashes, no dots, whatever, homeschoolfreedom.com. And then you can click on your state. You will see a link to your state organization, if there is one in your state, and can learn about their events, seminars, or if they're having a statewide convention or conference as well. Homeschoolfreedom.com.
We'll add that in the show notes for you guys.
Oh, great. Thank you. Other things that AFHE is doing, I'll mention before I dive back into the convention stuff, but other things that AFHE is doing that you can take advantage of are, at the end of May 24th is our 32nd statewide high school graduation ceremony. The registration for that is closed. I know that you guys have mentioned that already on your podcast, but you can come attend. I attended a local homeschool graduation ceremony when my oldest was 9 or 10. I attended our first one, and there was nothing like it for giving me a vision for I can do this all the way through. And just to celebrate, we were there to see our babysitter graduate. And just to celebrate with her and her family was just, a really special experience. You can attend the statewide homeschool graduation ceremony with us on May 24th and be a part of that celebration and, light a fire a little bit and see what is possible with homeschooling through high school.
That is the event to see if you have any doubt in your mind that you can do this to the finish. It's so amazing and incredible to see these kids that have accomplished and these parents who have accomplished the homeschooling journey all through high school. Right. So,
and then reading through the program that is produced and given at the graduation and seeing all the accomplishments that these kids have had and their future plans, it's so encouraging.
Yeah, take one of those programs with you and pass it on to whichever family member gives you the most hard time about homeschooling and what your kid may be missing out on. Because then they'll be like, oh, look, they're not missing out on anything.
Right. It's very moving. It's very moving to attend a homeschool graduation ceremony. And if you're thinking it's like a boring public high school graduation, let me just say,
not so much.
Please come find out that you're wrong, because It's amazing. So that's in May. Our convention is in July. Coming up next spring, we'll be doing the support group, homeschool group leadership conference that you both mentioned earlier. And that is a conference. We gather leaders together for mutual sharing and encouragement and training. Mm-hmm. That's always a really great time. This year we heard from Dr. Tracy Munsell from Arizona Christian University and from Jeff Orr, who spoke about leading in chaotic times. Mm-hmm. That was a message I think we all
so amazing
needed to hear. Mm-hmm. And all those who attended received a free book from our keynote speaker in 2022, Dr. George Barna. So we tried to make that really high impact, encouraging, refreshing for homeschool leaders who are doing really amazing work in the homeschool community on the ground in, local places all over the state. And that is open to homeschool leaders from around the state. Mm-hmm. So please come to that if that is you. And then next year in 2025, we will again have our Capitol Day, our homeschool day at the Capitol. You can call it either. I don't care what you call it. But it will be in the spring in 2025. Talk about communicating the power of a movement when legislators can look out their window down there at the Capitol and see hundreds of homeschoolers on the lawn down there. They realize, I think I'll go down there and talk to them and learn a little bit about this. And you can be engaging with and communicating with and praying for your legislator year-round. You don't have to wait for Capitol Day. In fact, I encourage you to do it year-round. Have your kids write them a letter, take homemade cookies or whatever to their staff in the office. Or pie, if you're a pie maker. And let them meet an actual homeschool family, because a lot of them, homeschooling is an abstract concept to them. They just see it as some other educational opportunity that some really intense people think is better than public schooling. But until they meet a homeschool family,
they don't realize it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, they're just getting what they get from the media or whatever. So show them what a three-dimensional homeschool family looks like. Yeah. And that can have a lot of impact. And coming to the Capitol Day is also really important. I think it was in 2021 when we had our Capitol Day. We were the largest group to have an on-site Capitol Day that year, the homeschool community that gathered. And it speaks volumes about the importance of protecting homeschool freedom when show up and celebrate and have that event at the Capitol. So I encourage all of you to come to that, whether in Arizona or in your own state if you're somewhere else. So that's coming up in the spring of 25. Those are some of the things that we have coming up. But you asked specifically about our convention. Mm-hmm. On Thursday, July 11th, we call it our pre-convention day. That's when in the exhibit hall, trucks are coming in, people are setting up their booths, they're getting everything ready for the big exhibit hall experience for the next 2 days. But we use the conference rooms in our building at the convention center to have a few free events. And one of them is You Can Homeschool. It's our introductory seminar that morning, July 11th, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., just in time to go have lunch and talk it all over with whoever you came with. And we have a few shorter sessions during that. They're not like a full hour. They're more like 45 minutes on a few topics that will help you understand kind of the homeschool scenario, the homeschool mindset, and how that differs from a public school or an institutional school, and kind of some things you need to know about the legal aspects of homeschooling in Arizona, kind of the steps you need to go through. And so all of that is there for you free on Thursday morning, July 11th.
Did you hear that? She said free. I just want to make sure everyone heard the word free.
Yeah, and you don't have to sign up in advance. You don't have to give us your credit card before leaving the room, or anything like that. But you
come and experience.
Just come.
Yeah, ask questions. And then our registration is also open on that day, in the afternoon. So by the time you leave that You Can Homeschool, you probably will have decided that you should spend the next 2 days on this, and you can register for the convention before you leave. You can also, like you, Gail, you can come and pick up your packet for the convention if you have pre-registered. You can do that day. You can register on site on that day. On Thursday, there's not long lines. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. And then Thursday afternoon from 2 to 5 p.m. is an event that we call, it's not, it doesn't roll off the tongue easily, but here it is, Getting Started Homeschooling with Special Needs. And what we want to do is, like you said, Gail, demonstrate and explain to people who attend that session that homeschooling your child with special needs, whether it's a medical need, a learning difference, a learning disability, profound, developmental issues. Homeschooling is possible and, in fact, offers great potential for your child. So we want to just fling open the doors on that Thursday afternoon, get people to start thinking about the possibilities. We'll also have information that's about a specific area or two, because, like I said, there are a couple of areas that are just really big, and there are a lot of people who need this information, whether it's one specific need or diagnosis or another. There will be a couple of opportunities on that day to address those specific ones. But that's typically a pretty small event. You don't need to be intimidated about, walking into a room of a bunch of people. It's, a few dozen, maybe, people who all need to be in that room. Yeah. And so that's what we want. We just want to meet the people who are there with information, encouragement, and I don't use this word very often, but empowerment. You have not only the authority and the discretion to do this as a parent, but you have the possibility and the power to do it. And we want to help.
Absolutely.
We want to help. So that's Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. There's another thing I'm working really hard to line up on Thursday that I can't announce yet. Okay. But,
that means there's a surprise.
I'll come back and talk about it if you want another time.
Keep a lookout on the AFHE website.
Yep. Yeah, keep a lookout for that on the AFHE website and in your emails if you're on our email list, which you definitely should be, by going to afhe.org and signing up for our emails. But that's going to be something new that we've never done before, and it's for teens, and it's for planning for the future. So I hope that we're able to get that lined up. Some other fun things at the convention this year that are new. We have some new experiences every year. Friday night, July 12th, you can attend Hank the Cowdog in concert. So if you and your kids have enjoyed the Hank the Cowdog books, or you just love funny stories about animals, or you want to come and laugh together after a long day of taking in all this information, come and breathe and laugh and have a great time. John Erickson, who's the author of all 81 Hank the Cowdog books, is going to be with us Friday night. And he does these appearances at schools, at libraries, at conferences, and they are always massively popular. People love this event. So we're super excited that he's going to come. I had to do a little persuading, and I'm so glad that we put in the effort to make it work. So please come and see Hank the Cowdog in concert. That's Friday night. But then also all day, both Friday and Saturday in our exhibit hall, you can attend the Actors Bible Family Fun Experience. So this group, Actors Bible, is going to set up a 24-foot diameter projection dome in the exhibit hall. You can enter the dome, and they project like a Bible scene on the inside of this dome. You're in costume, you have a teleprompter with lines, and you get to act out this scene and experience it like one of the...
How fun is that?
One of the people in that Bible account.
That's exciting.
It's really going to be fun. And so you can sign up and take your whole family, and it's about a 45-minute experience for you and any members of your family to attend. And yeah, they're also taking this to a lot of different events, retreats, men's conferences, family conferences, and it's super exciting that they're going to be with us. They're traveling from Pennsylvania to come and offer this. So please take advantage of that. It's like nothing we've ever offered before, and it's going to be really fun.
I'm going to make Landon do it with me.
Right?
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
You'll be in costume. It'll be great. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention, I hope I can throw this in here. You guys, I really do live convention in my head.
And we are so thankful for this.
All year long.
We're here for it.
My family knows that I love them a lot. I do love them more than convention, but this is something I'm super excited about. And we haven't had it every year. So coming back this year is a series of hands-on tutorial sessions.
I love these so much.
So you add a little bit to your ticket price to attend one of these sessions. You have your choice of 4, and you can attend all of them if you want to. But the reason there's an extra ticket price is because you receive supplies at this hands-on tutorial session that you're going to take home and use to implement that teaching strategy or activity or experience in your own home. So it's hands-on. We call it hands-on because you're getting to practice or learn this while you're in the session from the expert who's teaching it. And then you also are going home with, like I said, a kit or a packet or supplies that you need to do it at home.
I
So
remember setting up for this 2 years ago for one of the activities.
yeah, they're so fun. So we've had a big variety. It's a little different every time we offer it, and we did not have them last year.
Not.
We did 2 years ago, but they're coming back this year. And so check out those topics and times on our
When will you be
website.
releasing the program information on AFHE's website?
You can go there now and see almost all the information.
Okay.
What we haven't released yet is the exhibitor workshop schedule that I mentioned. Those are the opportunities where the vendors want to inform you about what they have to offer or what their expertise is. That schedule hasn't been released yet, but all of the featured speakers, the keynote sessions, the hands-on tutorials, the teen program, the 2-day teen program, all of that information is currently available. And it really is a ton of information. It's a huge event with thousands of people. I think it's 130 plus vendors.
Okay.
We have 120 some sessions if you add up every single opportunity. And you can get recordings of those as well. So you pick your favorite 10 or whatever to go to over the course of the weekend, but then you can listen to over 100 more for the next whole year if you purchase the recordings. It really is a massive event. Spend some time looking at all the information on the website and then get registered. Come to the convention. If you register now during April, you get the best, earliest, lowest price. But we have online registration available through June 21st. And you can apply for the discount in those discount categories. And if you just decide late, come anyway. Because you can register on site. And it will be worth your time and your money.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you both for sharing your experience and your insights today. Before we conclude, do you have any final thoughts or messages for our homeschooling mamas regarding the homeschool convention or their journey?
I would just say it's like this about so many other things. You don't maybe understand how doable something is when you're just looking at yourself and your own circumstances, your own obstacles, your own limitations. It's like that with job situations, it's like that in family situations, financial illness or suffering. When you're looking at just yourself, it can be overwhelming. It can feel like I can't do this, or this is beyond me. I'd better step out, or what's the easy way out, or what's the quick fix. If you look around, if you tap in to what is available for you and link arms with others, lean on people who've been there before, you will find that you're doing it. You'll look around and you'll realize this is really happening. I'm seeing these obstacles melt away. I'm seeing that when I use this guidance, when I use this wisdom I got from this friend or this mentor or this speaker, hey, that worked. It hadn't even occurred to me to try this before, but look, it's working. I'm not alone. My kids see other kids who are being homeschooled. They don't feel alone either anymore. My husband sees that this isn't just an idea I had because the public school thing wasn't working. It's a real thing. And there are lots of other dads too who he can talk to and get their perspective on what's this homeschooling thing going to mean for my family.
That's huge too, I think. If you have a husband who maybe isn't on board 100% with you trying this, or you want to homeschool but he's not sure, convention is one of the best places I think the husband can go with you to see, like, oh, my wife's not wackadoo, and
it's a whole world,
a whole thing we can be a part of. And I think it can be very, very helpful for them to realize, oh, we can do this. Look at how many people have done this, because it's just an abstract thought until you actually get into it. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
the dads are imperative in coming to convention. And I'm so glad that your husband has had good experiences, and my husband has had good experiences, and and David has too. So convention's so important.
That's what I would say. That'd be my closing thought.
That's amazing. I love it.
If you haven't come, you need to try it.
Yeah.
You need to try it at least once.
Come and see.
Come and see.
Amen.
And see.
Well said, Miss Cindy. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your thoughts and your experiences and your wisdom with us. And we're so, so grateful.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. This is something that I am not equipped to do, put on a podcast and be that person who's putting together great content for people in an ongoing way. What you guys are doing is really important too. And it's a part of like I said, the whole world and the whole ecosystem that is helping parents to do this most important work. So thank you for what you're doing too.
Aw.
Guys, remember that homeschool conventions aren't just about gathering information. They're about connecting, learning, growing together as a community. And we just hope that you have happy homeschooling. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, concerns, additions?
Oh, this just made me super excited for
I
July.
know, I can't wait for July. Can it come tomorrow? I'm sure she's not ready, but I want it to be tomorrow.
Yeah, Cindy's going to want it 2 more weeks.
I got a couple more things to do. So, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, before we pray it out, just as always, thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure that you share, you rate, that you subscribe, do all the things so that we make sure that this show is getting to who it needs to reach. God has this message for someone today, and we just want to make sure it gets to them. So if you are hearing this and your friend needs it, just pass it along. You know how to do that. Hit the little share button, copy the link, and text it to your bestie. Okay? Make sure you get it to them and share with the whole world, guys, especially if you're in Arizona and you are a homeschooler and you've never been to convention. Please share this with those people, right? And we will make sure to add in the AFHE website, the Homeschool Freedom website, and any of the other resources we mentioned in today's episode. We'll make sure to put those in the show notes for you. Just easy clicking. We just so appreciate you guys for being here. All right. Are we ready to pray it out?
We're ready.
All right. Here we go. Lord Jesus, we come to you today and we just thank you so, so much for this community, the convention, and we pray for community with that comes inside of that convention and all of the people that are putting this on for us homeschool moms and dads who are just floundering sometimes. We just keep swimming. And Lord, we just pray that they have safe travels as they come to convention, that everything goes the way that you have planned it to be that weekend. We pray for marriages to be enriched and families to be enriched. We know that this work is so important for your design, and we appreciate all of the people and pray over the convention committee and over Cindy and Sean, who are just spending countless hours away from their family and with their family to do this, and we thank you for them. Lord, we pray for all the speakers and expo people who are coming to enrich our lives as homeschool parents, and that they get there safe and get home safe, and are so grateful for them as well. Thank you for all of the things that you bring in our life, and thank you for all of the mercy and grace that you show us. In your holy and awesome name, amen.
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 All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey, bestie.